I think if Trump plays this right, it's to his advantage in net terms. Uh, Never Trumpers, the Republicans who never liked Trump and are not going to support him this time around, are nevertheless very, very much in favor of a conservative run Supreme Court. So I think many of them will run back to the Republican Party and actually vote for Trump if he puts forward a nominee on either side of the election. So that's a help to them. And history tells us, including Trump's recent history, that when Republicans are involved in a Supreme Court fight, it tends to help them at the ballot box. That's not to say that this also doesn't in the short term help Democrats. As you say, they're raising money off of this. And it will bring, I think, the more left-wing progressive Democrats who are not so keen, they're very lukewarm on Joe Biden's candidacy. They will be more inclined to support him in the short term because they think that this fight is no longer just about Joe Biden. It's about abortion rights and other issues that are really, really important to them. I think the critical thing here, though, is when Trump is able to nominate and if he is able to get a nominee put on the court. Because if this happens well before the election, I think the Democrats will then lose the momentum of making this an election not about Joe Biden versus Trump, but about the future of the Supreme Court. And if it's not about the future of the Supreme Court, it will dampen that enthusiasm from progressive Democrats for Biden's candidacy.
What do you wager the president will try to make that happen with regards to the Supreme Court in the sense of nominating someone who is a moderate, who he could get through the approval process quickly?
Oh, absolutely. I think the smart money is on him nominating a woman, obviously, in the coming days, literally in the next few days. And if he chooses a conservative woman, that'll be supported by his supporters. If he chooses, for example, there are a couple of candidates, one of them, Hispanic woman, jurist from the Miami area in Florida. Either of these picks, and there are other potential picks as well, make it that much harder for his opponents, his Democratic opponents in the Senate, and for Joe Biden to sort of throw the sexist, misogynistic tar at the candidacy, which they would like to do, which they've done in the past with male nominees. So Trump holds a few cards here, but he has to play them well because, yes, this still has the potential to blow up in his face.
Yeah, with that in mind, if it is a female nominee, which the president has already said it is this a calculated move? And is the president really playing wedge politics here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is identity politics thrown back at the Democrats. You know, you've just lost a liberal female justice. We're going to, excuse the pun, trump you by trying to appoint a conservative female justice to make it that much harder for you to oppose her. And in the case of if it's one who's from an ethnic or racial minority, then that if it may not enlarge Trump's support as such, but it'll help blunt attacks from the Democrats and from Biden. The other thing that's going to go on here, too, to the Republicans' advantage, to Trump's advantage, is that the nomination process, the hearings on Capitol Hill before the Senate Judiciary Committee, they're going to take the focus away from Joe Biden and put it on the faces of the Democrats in Congress that aren't as popular as Joe Biden. These are not as personable characters like Nancy Pelosi and particularly Chuck Schumer in the Senate. And just as the Republican congressional leaders aren't as popular as Trump within the Republican side, on the Republican side of the equation, nor the Democrats on Capitol Hill. And that will mean Trump will be playing on a daily basis against the likes of Chuck Schumer. And that's probably to his advantage.